Welcome to the Pocatello Business Podcast, the only Pocatello podcast focused on providing profits for Pocatello people. If you love our town and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Pocatello Business Podcast with your friend, host, all-around great guy, and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Pocatello Business Podcast. We are here with Brian Wilde from Financial Insight Center. Said that right.
You got it.
Messed up a couple times before this. This boy is a Pocatello native, born and raised, Highland grad. He did not go to ISU, so we'll hold that against him. He did go to the big Blue U over there in Logan.
Yep.
So, be what it may, he's still a good dude. But he's here joining us today. He's a financial advisor, financial consultant. And Brian, say hi to the crowd over here.
How we doing? Hope everyone's doing well.
Good. Brian, tell us about yourself, your family, your friends, your hobbies.
Okay, a little about me. I married, been married 11 years now to my wife, Whitney, who's from Idaho Falls. We have 4 boys, 8, 7, 4, and 1. I'm getting to the point where I just count them and make sure they're all there. So that probably is a sign that I have too many kids. I love sports, anything to do with sports, golf, basketball are probably my top 2. And then we like to boat, of course, off my father-in-law's boat, not my own. And I played the drums too. In fact, me and Spencer back in high school always talked about jamming together on his guitar and my drums. I don't think we ever did that, but
yeah, I haven't picked up the guitar for a while, but
but yeah, anything active I love to do. Outdoor stuff, lots of fun. So.
Good. Well, good. Yeah, Brian and I have been friends for a while. He's a smart dude. He handles all of my company's financial well-being of either from the benefit side to the IRAs, all that fun stuff. So Brian, what got you into this business?
Well, I was a senior in college, and probably I was majoring in business, and probably like a lot of kids, I still didn't know exactly what I was going to do with my business degree, and I was really looking at it, praying about it, and I ran into a financial advising company at a career fair, and then I started doing an internship for one. And so through my internship, I got interest, but they were really having me do just kind of the grub work, the filing and all that.
Got to cut your teeth.
Yeah. And then, but then I started interviewing with this company the end of my senior year, and me and my wife thought about it, prayed about it, didn't know a ton about it.
Sure.
I didn't even know any financial advisors like that I could call and ask, and decided to do it. And the rest is history. I've never looked back. It's a tough career. 1 in 10 make it. So 1 out of 10 people that start continue, and I've been doing it 10 years now. So,
10 years now.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. What do you see the biggest, maybe the mistake that some of these business owners are making when it comes to keeping their employees happy or even watching out for themselves? What do you see out there?
COVID-19 was a great example of some struggles, and also the ones that you could see can get through it easily is just treating their own book of business a little bit like they would their household, right? Mm-hmm. Meaning having an emergency fund, having reserves, saying, hey, no one could predict that a government was going to shut down a company for 2 months, exactly, but do you have the reserves to be able to get through that 2 months, right? And I would say that a lot of people just get into it, no savings, very high financed, and just don't know what they're getting into, don't know their numbers. I heard you've had some really smart people on here. I've listened to a lot of them, but Dan Packard was one that I was impressed by. Yep. About, having somebody like that to help guide you through, hey, how much do I need to make per job, per cloth, whatever it is that per widget is what we always called it in college, right?
Per widget, yep.
And those kind of things, if people can know those and be prepared for the downturns, then I think they can get through it.
That's good to hear. Yeah, that's the thing. Some companies do get a little over leveraged, but what about on the personal side? You see a lot of business owners thinking, you know what? And I've seen this in the past, and even within family, that they say, hey, you know what? I'm going to grow this business. Eventually, I'm going to sell it. I don't really need to worry about saving or investing now, because I'll just live off what I sell my company for. Do you see that happening quite a bit?
Yeah, you see that all the time. And really, that's a big risk. I mean, you're not diversifying. You're just saying, hey, I know what I know, and I'm going to stick to that, and hopefully it sells, right? Yeah. And what happens most of the time, people think their businesses are worth more than they actually are, because they know it. It's their bread and butter.
And we get sentimental about it.
We get sentimental about it.
You think that adds dollars to the price, right. And it doesn't.
And it doesn't, right? Somebody hires an evaluator, and bam, they give you a low ball price. Happens all the time. Yep. And so I see that way too often. And I think the people, and that's where an advisor or planner or whoever can come in and help provide that advice and say, listen, your business is your business. You know it in and out better than I do. But what are you doing that if this doesn't turn out to be the best possible thing, you sell it for $2 million and you started it from scratch, what other things are you doing? And so then we have to have a business plan, and then a business financial plan, and then a personal financial plan. And if they can focus on the personal and say, hey, I get this revenue from my business, I'm going to contribute X amount of dollars towards the future, my own future, not only my business's future, then the plan looks a lot smoother.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. There's a high percentage. I think correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe we don't know for sure, but I know there's a number out there. I think it's like 70% of most businesses don't sell. It's a big number. It could maybe not that big, but I know it's a large number. So that's something you just always can't bank on. You know?
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, you're good.
Okay. Well, what would you say let's start with just the startups. What would you say? What would you recommend for someone starting up a company? What would be the base package that you would kind of say, this is important for you to be doing right now in regards of financial health?
Financial health. When someone is starting a business and they come in, I mean, once again, we kind of start off with, there's personal financial planning, there's business financial planning. And like I said before, one of the first steps is having emergency reserves, right? And then another step would be making sure that they have all the proper insurances in place that they need. Liability, right? Mm-hmm. Doctors need malpractice. You probably need a bunch of stuff that if one of your employees ruined a gym, that's not all on you, right?
That's right. You gotta have the grown-up stuff.
So you've got the risk management side, you've got the financial reserves, and then you just have a business plan that you love, that you like what you're doing. But I would also say for a startup is what's your goal? Is it to sell? Is it to make all the money in the world? Is it to be flexible and have your time, right? Because a lot of people get into a startup going, I'm sick of working for the man. And then they end up letting their business consume their entire life. And, instead of that, hey, I want to be at my kids' ball games, it turns out that you're at your kids' ball games on the bleach or in your car on a phone conference, right? Because you're so consumed by it. And so, but you got to define what that is. And I know that doesn't necessarily answer the financial health question, but I do think that you need to understand how healthy, how big you want to get it, because, there's a time and season for everything. And like for me, I got kids at home. Yeah. And that's the most important thing for me, is that I can provide, but also be present and be there. And if I let my finances take over that side of it, then I'm not feeling success.
Yeah, so. That's good information. When, for example, if you're starting a company, what would you say to those people saying, hey, I don't know if I can afford, I know I need to have some retirement. How do I get it started? But is there a max I've got to pay out every year into this retirement, or what? What would you say to those type of people?
I mean, obviously it's going to depend on how well their business is doing, but generally speaking, general financial advice
stuff,
would be saying you've got to be saving at least 10% of your income that you're bringing home to the future.
Okay.
Right? And that future, obviously it depends on the age.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody is 55 and starting a business and they've never set money aside, well, that 10% needs to be a lot more.
Yeah.
But, but general principle you'd say 10 to 15% for the long term. Because most self-employed people don't have a match, right? They're not getting that benefit. So you need to recognize that that's also a part of it. Once again, have a CPA to help you with Social Security. Make sure that you're maximizing some of those things or not, depends on the accountant, but that you take a look at those things for the future. But yeah, does that help?
No, that's smart.
Okay.
I just think the population and our audience listening to this, it's just good to go through this routine. Yeah. So what would you say to the business owners that are out there that have been around for a few years or even, 10 to 20 years, and they have employees and they're saying, man, I don't know. I know my employees want certain benefits and want certain things, but doggone it, that's going to be super expensive. Like what options are out there for those type of people?
So, yeah, I get that a lot. And, most of the time you'd be surprised at the loyalty that even providing small benefits can give you. If you're not offering that 3% retirement match and another company is, and the pay is similar, or let's say you're even paying them slightly more, but they see that, they might jump ship just because it feels like I'm being loved and they care about me. Right. But options out there, obviously for small business owners, I would say the simple IRA is what a lot of people think about, at least. Yep. And that's a minimal one where it's a 3% match. And so with a lot of employees, you look at it and you go, man, that's like $150 a year extra that I have to pay to that employee. And when you look at it, you go, actually, that's really not that much, because they've got to be putting that in. And the good thing is that I think you can provide them too, is you have an advisor come in and kind of give them a financial health overview, so there's some more value being added as an employer. Yeah. Right. And that's something that can help, obviously, health benefits and life insurance benefits, disability, those kind of things. But those are usually for bigger companies. I don't know how often those will get involved with a small company, but a 10 to 20 year, sure, those will, and that does a lot to keep employees. For sure.
Because after what, I think it's after 50 full-time employees, you have to start looking into, maybe you don't know that.
For health?
For health,
yeah.
that kind of stuff?
I don't know for sure. I'm not a health guy.
You're not full in that.
Yeah.
Well, good. That's good. It's, I'm not smart at this kind of stuff. That's why I brought Brian in to help run our company's benefits packages there. And we don't have, we're a small business. We don't have a lot to offer, but he really opened up my eyes to say, oh, wow, it's not that much to do the 3% match for the IRA. And, you can also contribute to yourself, so you can. Yeah.
And it allows you to do more than the average American. Most average Americans can only do up to 6,000 if they're under 50 or 7,000 if they're over. Whereas someone like you could do up to 13.5 or 16.5. It's just a lot more that you're allowed to do because the government knows, hey, you don't get benefits. And so they want to allow you to get tax deductions and incentivize you to provide for yourself and for your employees.
Sure. So I'm going to brag that I have this kind of stuff in place, but it wouldn't have happened without Brian,
pestering you for a few years.
Not pestering, but just saying, hey, man, you're watching out for me.
Yeah.
You knew what I was up against, and you knew, like, hey, this is what you need to do. This is going to be good to keep employees. This is in line with your core values. Do it. And I'm glad I did because it's been very helpful. So
good.
Anyways, let's ask a couple fun questions here as we kind of wrap things up. If you were to choose another profession in another life, what would you do?
Well, I've always wanted to be a high school teacher.
Okay.
And coach high school sports. I look back at my days at Highland. Chris Frost was the head coach. Gino Mariani was the football coach. And I still remember those guys. They had a very positive influence on me. And I would have loved that. I just didn't do it because I don't know, just it was the pay.
Sure.
Especially starting out, teachers,
Yeah.
it's not a whole lot. And they'll tell
tough.
you that firsthand. But I would have loved that. I love being around kids. Yeah, it would have been a lot of fun. Obviously, if I could be a professional golfer, I'd do that. But I'm like a 16 handicap, so I don't think that's going to happen.
Be a professional janitor like myself.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
Prestigious job.
Clean toilets. I'd love that. But yeah, I would,
good.
If I could go back, I would. Teaching would be awesome.
That's a good one. And if you ever see Brian golf, he'll be the only one you see at the teeing off with an iron instead of a driver.
Hey, I've been improving on that.
Oh, okay.
Or if you hear a really loud 4, like a really loud 4, that's probably me.
Yeah, it won't be. It could be me too. So, well, Brian, appreciate having you on the show. There's one last question we like to end with because it's Pocatello. We're local. Where's your favorite local restaurant to eat at?
I would have to say El Heredero.
El Heredero.
3 carne asada tacos, beans and rice.
Damn. I haven't eaten
and the
today.
chips.
I'm starving.
Chips and salsa.
Gosh dang it.
I'm a sucker for that stuff.
That's good stuff. Okay. Well, Brian, you not only help people on the professional side, but you help people on the personal side. If someone wants to reach out to you to say, hey, Brian, my husband and I are you're this close to retirement or we're this far from retirement, we need to get some kind of plan in place for personally or on a business side. How do they get a hold of you?
So I have an office down on 5th Street in the Omni building across from Ace Hardware.
Okay.
And my phone number is 208-251-9310. Got an email, brian@ficretire.com.
Perfect.
All sorts of spots. They could text you if they don't know it,
yeah.
and you can forward my info on.
That's right.
Sure, I'd love to at least have a conversation.
Cool. This guy's honest. He's up front with you. There's no bamboozling going on. He's just he knows his stuff. Maybe on the golf course, but that's about it.
For nickels, maybe. But.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, again for sharing some moments with us at the Pocatello Business Podcast. Look out for Brian and go give him a holler.
Okay. Thanks, Spencer. Thanks for having me on.
Yep. See you.
Congratulations on spending a couple minutes getting just a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Pocatello business community. If you are feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.